looking at West Virginia, some of the disabilities that we have in West Virginia, here's a graph that shows what percent of disabilities are within West Virginia. That's Policy 2419 criteria, and that's not students that have diagnoses coming that aren't being served with an IEP. This is just a pictorial graph of what our disabilities are. As you can see, learning disability is the biggest. Autism is about 6%, which, looking at all the other disabilities we have, that's a pretty good size percent. Here's a better one. Currently, based on the count that we just did for 2018 data, we currently have in the state of West Virginia 2,691 students that are being served with an IEP in the autism category in the state of West Virginia. That's a lot. That's a lot of students. And if you can see the other disabilities, what the numbers are. But as far as autism, we've got 2,691 students that have an IEP being served with autism. That is diagnosed students that are being served with an IEP. That doesn't count the students that have the autism diagnosis that aren't being served with an IEP. That is just the child count that we pull that has that many students being served with an IEP. That's a huge number if you look at the other categories. And here shows data from 2012. We had 1,493. Now look at 2019. This is data just pulled last year. We've got the 2,691. As you can see, autism is on the rise. Now I don't know why. I can give you several theories on why, but we're not going to go into that today. But it's on the rise. There are more students with autism in West Virginia than ever before. There are more students across the country with autism than ever before. So that's why we have these trainings. That's why I'm glad to see so many people here. That's why I'm glad to see people wanting to learn about autism, wanting to get a certification with autism, wanting to work with these students with autism. Because it's a difficult job. If you don't want to work with these students, if you're just taking a job to work with these students, then you're going to be tough, because it is tough. You've got to have the picture schedules. You've got to have the behavior management. You've got to have all the stuff that we need to help these students be successful. So it's good to see people that want to do this. So they're taking that extra mile, they're using their time, using their money to get this extra knowledge, this extra certification to work with our students. Okay, I'm going to talk with you a little about Policy 531401, which is the policy that I gave you. That is the Autism Mentor policy. Everything in this policy will outline everything that you need to know in order to qualify as an Autism Mentor in the state of West Virginia. It will outline everything. Now I'll go through this in pretty good detail about what the requirements are, and after this, if you have any questions, let me know. This policy is my life. I know it inside and out. So if you have any questions, not too many curveballs I've gotten so far, but let me know, and we'll go through it in great detail. Let's take a quiz, and we can just, not on paper, we'll just talk it out and yell it out. Okay, true or false? Policy 531401, and you're not supposed to know this, because I don't know if you've looked at this policy, I don't know if you've studied this policy, I don't know if you know this policy. That's okay, you will. When you go through the process to get your Autism Mentor certification, you will know the policy. You'll have to. So let's talk about it. Policy 531401 states that an aide must work with a student who has been diagnosed with autism for 3 years to obtain their certification. Is that true or false? Somebody raise your hand and tell me. True or false?
False.
False. It is false. What is it true? 2 years. It is 2 years. You have to work with a student with autism that has been diagnosed with a student with autism for 2 years. 2 years. Let's look at the next one. Policy 531401 states that a certified aide must have 30 hours of training to verify standard 2. True or false? True. It is true. And that's what I'm going to go through today, what I'm looking for in those trainings. Exactly what trainings that I want, what trainings that I need, and what I'll verify and what I won't. Because there's lots of trainings that I get that I can't, one, I can't prove that you took them, and two, I don't know what they are. Because sometimes the counties give trainings that aren't matching what we want them to know. Not that they're giving wrong information, it's just not what we're looking for. So the next one, Policy 531401 does not require restraint training as part of the 30 hours of training. True or false? That is false. That's the biggest problem that I have why I do not approve standard 2. You could have, I've seen people have 40 and 50 hours of training. I mean, people really have a lot of training. But if they don't have that restraint training, I can't approve it. That's part of the thing. You can take a 3-hour CPI course. There's a healthcare course, but it's a restraint training course that I think Mon County and a lot of them, Harrison County, a lot of them have. if I can research it and I can say it's got training with de-escalation techniques, then that's what I need. CPI is probably the most widely known in West Virginia. If you have a CPI course, now you can go, I've seen them up to 8 hours. I'm not going to question the trainer. If they say it's 8 hours, I've seen most of them were 6 hours for initial, but if they say it's 8 hours, then I'll take those 8 hours. As long as when you submit it, you submit your card, take a copy of your card, I'll make a copy of that, submit it along with your paperwork, and put the number of hours on there. So here's where we can go with this. If you have the Autism Mentor 1, the Autism Mentor 2, that's 24 hours. They go by points, I go by hours. Hours are a lot easier to document because you go, each hour is a half a point. I'll just go hours, once you get 30 hours. So you've got 24 points, you need 6 more hours. You take a CPI course to the 6 hours, your 30 hours is done. That's the wonderful parts about these classes. You get so many hours. Now you're here for 4 days, but you get 24 of that 30 hours. If you take a CPI course, 6 hours, your 30 hours are done.
If you already have the CPI training, does it count for that?
No, well, as long as it's not more than 3 years old. Well, actually, CPI renews every year. So usually a recertification is 3 hours. I've seen them up to 6, depending on the trainer.
My CPI is 8.
Sometimes it is 8, yeah. If an initial
It's
CPI is 8.
It's every 2 years.
Okay, it's every 2 years now? Okay. So if it's 8 hours and you take this and then you submit your 30 hours and it's within the 3-year time limit and your CPI does not expire
No,
in the time.
mine just renews.
So you should be good to go.
They
Yep.
get a full 8 hours.
Yep, so you should be good to go. Once you take these classes, submit that paperwork to me. So once you have the 30 hours, that's the key, the 30 hours. Don't worry about the points because it says points on here, it's a half a point for each hour. That's confusing to me because just go with the 30 hours. If you get 30 hours of training, if you document 30 hours of training, you send me documentation, 30 hours of training, we're good to go. We're good to go. Policy 53-1401 does not define what an A3 is. Does it define what an A3 is?
True.
It does define what an A3 is, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. And I'm not going to read these to you. Just go ahead and do the second part over here. Do this with it on your own, and I'll give you the answers here in a minute. This is just some terms that I want you to be aware of. Some terms that you're going to see throughout this policy that you just got to make yourself aware of. Because in the policy, I am only verified standard 2. Everything else, your local education agency, which is your school system, which is the county that you work in, they verify standard 1, 3, 4. I don't have anything to do with those, and you'll see those in the policy. I only verify standard 2. That's the training, that's the hours, that's that stuff. The local education agency verifies everything else. I don't know if you've worked with a student with autism for 2 years. I don't have any way to know that. You can send me documentation, but I just put it in your file because I don't do that. I don't know if you've had, if you're physically capable of doing the job. That's not me. I'm not making that determination. That's your local schools. So now let's look at the answers. Oop. Okay, you're right. False, true, false, true. Policy 53-1401 does define what an A3 is, and it is right here. This is what the policy says an A3 is. And this is what your local educational agency is. It's basically the county that you work in. It's like basically who you work for. That's your local educational agency, LEA. And it's referred to as LEA throughout the training. Okay. Now we're going to dig into policy. Okay. Standard 1. This is what it says. You must meet the qualifications of an A3 as defined in West Virginia Code 10A-4-B. That's the code. I didn't pull this out of my hat. I didn't pull it out of the air and say, okay, this is magically what I think an A says. This is state code. This is passed by the legislation. This is what they say an A3 is, and it's in your policy as well. This is what they say. This is the definition of an A3. Now, in order to obtain your Autism Mentor, you have to have a certification of an A3. And meet this definition. And again, your local educational agency is verified to verify the standard. I don't have anything to do with that. I can look and see what your qualifications are, but that's not what I do. I just do standard 2. So your local educational agency will know that better, a lot better than you do, because I'm working all over the state. So I may get some from Parkersburg, I may get some from Harrison County, I may get some from Wheeling, I may get some from Charleston, I may get some from everywhere. And I can't dig into and see whether you are. That's your local agency. And I've got several calls. Well, I am an A2 and I need to do this. I don't know. And that's going to be my answer. I don't know. Because your local school is going to define that. I see some that hold on to this training for a couple of years. Remember, don't hold on to it too long because it's only good after 3 years. I just had to tell a person about 3 weeks ago that sent me all their paperwork. They didn't get stuff in. Their Autism Mentor training was 2016. It was from June 17th or 18th, 2016. I said, if you don't have this to me by this time, then it's no longer good. So they spent all this money and they held on to it for 3 years. So they're going to have to take that class again because it's older than 3 years old. So I didn't approve it. That's just what it is. So get these classes. You've got these. Don't hold on to them. You've got 3 years, but that 3 years will go by very quickly. So my recommendation is once you get these classes, start your other stuff. I don't know. What I look at is a 30 hours of training. If you can document 30 hours of training with this form, and that's why I gave you this form, this is your standard 2 verification form. And I'll go into greater detail with this in a little bit. But this is how I can prove that. It's on part of the website. I've given you a copy of this here. I'll give you my contact information. If you need another one of these, I'll send it to you. If anything that you need, I'll send it to you. I'm here to help, but this makes my life a lot easier. And if they're organized and they're easy, I can get them quick. And that way, the sooner I get that verification out, I'll write a letter to your personnel director. I'll write a letter to your special ed director. They put it in your file, and that way it's there. So that way, when you've got time to meet the other qualifications. But the big one is meeting standard 2. You've got to meet standard 2 in order to progress in everything else. But that's a good step is being here, getting this training. So again, you must have restraint. That includes prevention and de-escalation techniques with an alternative to the use of restraint. CPI is probably a good one. Like I said, there's one up in Wine County, Harrison County right now. I cannot remember the life of me what it is, but there's several that I will accept. But CPI is the easiest, and then that's probably the one that's greatest used around the state. So CPI is a good way to get it. If you already have your CPI and it's not expired, attach that, and I can use that. I'm not going to sit up there and just look and think. I'm not going to prevent you from getting something. If I can get it, if a date's coming up, I will email you. If I can't email you, I will call you. If I can't get a hold of you, I will call your principal. I will call somebody to get a hold of you if I have a question or something. I'm not going to sit on something for 3 or 4 weeks, 6 weeks, if it's something that's going to cause you a problem. I'm going to do it as quick as I can and get them out as quick as I can. Like I said, if I have a stack of them and I have nothing else on my plate, which is rare, I can do it about 15, 20 minutes while I verify everything because I got to look everything up. I've got to look at rosters. But if this is filled out easy, it makes my life a lot easier and it will go a lot quicker for you. And then here's the big thing again, must be completed within a 3-year period and documentation submitted to me. Trainings over 3 years will not be considered. 2 years of successful experience providing classroom instruction and supports to students with autism. That again, that is verified by your local educational agency. I don't know. The big thing I want you to look at is 2 things that I get questions on all the time. A year is 133 instructional days. That is in 1 year. You can't go, I've had 60 days this year, 70 days this year, that's whatever the 133 days. No, it's got to be 133 instructional days within a year. So from August to June, you've got to have 133 days for it to count for a year. You can't break it up and say I've got 60 this year, 70 this year, 80 this year. Okay, that makes a year. It's in 1 year. That's the biggest question that I get from special ed directors. It's the biggest question I get from personnel directors. What is a year? I get this aide that has this many, it's 133 days in a year. It's just that simple. Now, I don't verify that because I don't know, but your local education agency will. And if they have a question, they're going to call me. And I will say, this is what a year is. This is what a year is. I've had people that have 132 days and don't get credit for it. I've had people that have 145 days, and then the next year they have 133 days. That works. If you get 133 days, that's all I need. That's all I need. That's what it's going to verify. The physical ability and stamina necessary to complete all job tests, including tests related to ensuring student safety. Again, your local educational agency will verify that. I'm not touching that. That's not something that I'm going to work with. But you know, I don't know if ever anybody has not been approved for this. But again, that's your local school system. That's something that they want to do. Any question about that? All right, this is your standard 2 verification form. Can everybody look at that real quick? This is the greatest piece of paper that you will fill out that will get things done quicker, that will outline things, and I want to go over just a little bit with that. These are some common problems that I have that hold me up. If I can look at this piece of paper and I can see your training, see your dates, see where it's at, and you meet it, and then you attach all your documentation because you're going to get certificates from this training. Make a copy and attach it. Make a copy of your CPI card, attach it. Anything that you have done, I mean, truly anything. I don't care if you send me 50 hours of training. As long as I can document it, and as long as I can prove it. Some counties do in-county trainings. As long as it's related to autism, as long as it's related to autism and behavior, as long as it's related, I'll even take data collection. I take a lot of those because that's part of the autism, what you've got to do with that. So if your county does something, just give me a roster, highlight your name, highlight your signature. I don't want just you to sign a piece of paper and say this training, I've had that before. Or don't print me off the certificate that you do from your CEUs that you've got to get through the county to keep your certification or whatever they have you to do. Don't just take that and sign it. I need a roster that says you took this training and there were other people taking this training, so it wasn't just you. Don't print me off your certificate and just sign it and say, now if your personnel director wants to sign it and say, yes, I can verify these hours, I'll accept that. But the easiest thing to do is get a copy of the roster. The personnel directors have them. Get a copy of the roster, highlight your name, and attach that if you are carrying that for trainings. And then print off the certificate that you'll get online when you do web-based. Because a lot of people do web-based continuing education stuff for Autism Mentors and for all aides. I mean, not forever, but there's no time limit on how long it takes you to work for 2 years.
Right.
There is a time limit on my paperwork. So you could say, okay, well, okay, I didn't do it this year, and I got to do it next year, and then I got to do it this year. And then you look up and you okay, my training's expired. Then you got to go back and go through all this stuff again.
But you have 3 years.
But you've got 3 years. But that 3 years goes quick. I know you think I've got 3 years from the day, and I'll get it in. But you get busy, life happens, and I would hate for you to take this and not get credit for it. So give it to me. Give it to me as easy and as quick as you can get it. Give it to me. Give it to me.
And
Because
we'll be holding on to it in the file until the final hours documented that you were working with the autistic child.
yeah, and then but what I'll do is once you get that information to me and I verify standard 2, I will send a letter. So that is it. You have met standard 2. Then you can work on the rest of the stuff. But send that stuff to me as quickly as you can, and that way I can give it back to you, turn around as quick as I can, because you can't apply for anything or do anything as far as a position until you have that standard 2. But as soon as you can get, and that standard 2 will sit in a file for as long as you want it to meet those other requirements. So get that standard 2 to do as quick as you can.
So you don't have to complete the 2 years to complete the paperwork and get it.
No. This paperwork here, this form here, you can, once you get your 30 hours, send it to me. You can do it multiple ways. Scan it, email it to me. I'll accept that, I'll print it off. You can, because on the website there's this in a PDF form, a fillable PDF form, so you can just type right into it. If you feel better printing it off and doing it, that's okay too. Let me see how much time. You can print it off, that's okay too. Anything that, however you want to do it. But yes, send that to me as quick as you can. That's my recommendation because time will get away from you. And you can work on those other qualifications after standard 2 is verified. Because that's the big one. The other things are just doing your job and taking and putting in time what you've got to do. Standard 2 has a time limit, will expire, and is time sensitive. I know you say 3 years, but 3 years goes by quick. 3 years goes by quick. These are the things that I've got to have. I've got to have your email. Don't give me a Frontier email. Don't give me a Gmail email. Give me your K-12 email. If you have one, that is easy because the server at the State Department at times won't let me send out to like a Gmail or a Frontier, or it recognizes K-12. And I will always when I send the standard 2 verification letter to your personnel director and to your special ed director, I'll CC you in the line, so that way you know and you have a record that I have sent this standard 2 verification. There's been multiple times you give me a Gmail, you give me a Frontier, you give me a Comcast, you give me anything. A lot of times the state won't let me send it to you. It's that filter that they won't let me send. But if you give me your K-12 email, then I will send it. I'll send it. I'll CC you in the copies. That way you know you have it. You can print it off for your records. I want to be completely transparent with you. I mean, I'm not going to hide anything from you. I'm not going to say, well, I sent that back a month ago. I will send, if you give me a K-12, I will send you a copy of it too. I think you have it right. You went through the training you've done. You put in the time. I want your special ed directors and your personnel directors' emails because I will send them an email. Now I can look it up, but again, that takes my time. It takes my time. Not that my time is more important than yours, but I just want to process this as quick as I can. And if I've got to take time to look at this, I might get busy doing it and put it to the side. It might be a couple of days because I might be out of the office. Usually this time of the year, and starting September and August and September, I'm not in the office a whole lot. Because I've got trainings. That's when people want me to start opening schools and start wanting me to do things like that. So if this stuff is filled out and quick as and easy, I will do it. You must have on the form the title of the training, like you'll say Autism Mentor 1, and then fill this out. Date of training, agency provided training is ATC, number of hours, you'll get 12 hours. Autism Mentor 2, do the same thing. Date of training, number of hours, agency providing training. Give me all that information. Again, that's just easy. And then attach your certificate to it. So anything you put here in these lines, there's got to be documentation for it. Give me a certificate. Give me a signature of roster that you took these classes. Give me anything. But anything that you put here, there's got to be documentation attached to it. Somehow, some way, some form. Do you guys understand that? Okay. Please do not write "see attached" in these boxes. I have several people that will just write "see attached." Drives me nuts. Drives me nuts. I don't know. I'm just that OCD, I guess. But please, just write it out. Take the time to type it out. It'll take you 2 minutes. Just please don't write "see attached" because then I've got to fill this form out. And it takes me a long time to fill it because I don't want to focus and concentrate and look back through. That's your responsibility. Please, just fill it out for me. Fill it out and attach this. And then again, attach any certificates received from the trainings. And all information must be verified by a certificate. I can't just take your word for it. Now, I know you're honest people, and I believe you. If you say I took this wonderful training that I flew to Atlanta, Georgia, Temple Grandin was speaking, it was the greatest training I've ever had, and you put that on there, but if I don't have documentation, sorry, I can't do it. I've got to be fair and consistent. That's the part of my job that I have to do. So document it somehow. Give me documentation. I believe you. And I would love to go with you, but give me documentation that you took it. Give me documentation that you were there. If you have any questions, let me know. If you're filling it out, call me. Shoot me an email. Don't ever hesitate. I'm there. Like I said, if I don't have my email on my desk, I've got it on my phone. I'm pretty good about responding. I don't ever do it when I drive, but I'll at times pull off the side of the road. I do that frequently and send an email, send a text, send something. Shoot the office and say, okay, can you send this for me? That's not a problem. If it needs immediate attention, I will stop and give it immediate attention. That's part of my job. Any questions about this? This is the biggest problem that I have that prolongs taking the time. It takes more time. There's my contact information. If you want, I can give you a card before I leave. I can give you that. Let me know. Let me know what you need. I am here to help you. That's why I'm so glad that they asked me to come and present. I'm so glad that they asked me to just come in and talk with you for just about an hour. I kept it under an hour. We didn't get started until about 50 minutes. That's what I promised. I said I'll be an hour, but I tend to get wordy and lengthy. But call me, shoot me an email, let me know what I can do to help. This is my passion. This is my job. This is the job that I have wanted for years. So let me help you. I'm here to help you. Let me know what I can do. If you have a question about a training, if you have a question about an hour, before you submit it and it sits there and then you have to resubmit, call me. Or just say, or shoot me an email and say, okay, I've got this. I'm going to send you this. What else do I need? I'm okay with that because I would rather send it back and say, hey, you need this and this and this. Then you send me a complete packet. That's okay. Let me know. Let me help you. I'm here to help.